already. And we will be saying Merry Christmas and exchanging pleasantries and gifts and well wishes to our friends and neighbours. And that's kind of what Grati-Tuesday is all about. I'm delighted here on The Breakfast Show with O.C. Davis that, as ever, we are joined by one of the team from Alive and Kicking. We've got Reverend Sophie this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. It's so lovely to be with you today. I'm feeling very Christmassy and very festive and very excited about it all.
It's just flown. It's here, isn't it? Snap your fingers.
I know. It's gone really, really quickly. I was writing my newsletter last night and looking back over the last 2 weeks. And my lovely parishioners, bless them, they're always saying to me, you're doing too much, you're working too hard, you need to take it easier. And I mean, that's just not in my nature. I'm just generally a very busy person. But I look back at it and I think I'm so privileged. So I've spent some time with the children in the school, and I've done like Christmas. I've seen all their Christmas productions, and then I've done bell ringing with the Mothers Union. We did the Children and Youth launch at the cathedral. There's just so many, and I get to come onto Pure West Radio. There's so many different things, so many different facets to my role. I was like, how can I be, even though I'm busy, actually it's a really nice busy. It's a lovely busy,
I feel the same way. Being involved in the radio, we're involved in lots of different events, and I was like, yeah, it's busy, it's non-stop, but I get to experience all these things. I get to make memories, and I get to look back at them and think, gosh, I helped make that happen, or I got to enjoy that whilst helping making that happen. It's just a different mind shift, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've often said, I think, to you, and I certainly was having a conversation with Toby about it the other day, that the radio reminds me a little bit of church. There's kind of that, it's all about it's that sense of community and that sense of being together for a same cause, and that kind of like moving things forward together and making sure that everybody's involved in that, including the whole of Pembrokeshire. And I love it, and we're so privileged to be doing these jobs, yeah, it's great. Anyway, I've slightly digressed, but
There's nothing wrong with that. It's the season, and it's a different perspective. That's why one of the reasons that you're here on a Grati-Tuesday is to open up our perspectives. One person who I think is sharing perspective with many others this morning is where is she? Rebecca Sproul. Grateful for next day delivery. Can't bear the shops on the run up to Christmas.
So am I. I'm very grateful for next day delivery and click and collect.
Yeah, you don't need to go into the hustle and bustle. It's there ready and waiting for you. Dilys Griffiths, being grateful for Alive and for my family. It's a lovely time to think about your family this time of year and to commemorate and remember your family too. Rebecca Singh, grateful for the Scarlets for giving them entertainment. They had vouchers to go and see them at Parker Scarlets where they actually won, which was nice. Rachel Torrance, morning Rachel over in Pembroke, having my first real tree.
Oh, that is so exciting. I want to know, is it one of those trees that is going to die at the end of Christmas, or is it going to be one of those trees that you're going to replant for next Christmas?
Well, judging by my perception of what this tree looks like, I think it could be one that they could plant again. I'm just going to put it there. Oh, wrong cut that one there. Look.
Oh, yeah, it does look like it could be planted again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I love it. So for those watching on Facebook, you would have seen that on Instagram and on YouTube. It's a lovely Christmas tree in a pot with red baubles, lovely warm white lights and a gold star at the top. Gorgeous.
Oh, so beautiful. I've got 3 Christmas trees.
Nice.
One of which has got the outline of Mickey Mouse on the top of it.
Our tree topper is also an outline of Mickey Mouse.
We're talking about this earlier. The same place by any chance?
Potentially. Abs has left us, but she was telling us that she's got a big angel who's got a proper like frock and robes on top of her tree. It's like 15 years old.
Amazing. Yeah. I remember when I was a kid always looking at these. And they were very, very delicate, but it was just part and parcel of the Christmas tradition. My grandparents had all these tiny glass, I'm sure everybody's grandparents had them, tiny glass baubles, and they had such a tiny Christmas tree, but it was like 3 foot. And now we see a 6-foot tree and go, well, that's a bit small, isn't it? But
It's true.
it's like everything's gotten bigger, including the baubles. But yeah, I remember just holding on to these really, really precious glass baubles from my grandparents' Christmas tree. And I think my mum and dad have still got a few of them left, but over the
Oh,
years, of
wow.
course, they've gotten broken. That's the problem with, of course, with glass. They do break. But there we are. Anyway.
Yeah. What message have you got for us today then, Sophie?
Well, I mean, my first message is that I am grateful to be able to do my job. I think you've already, but most importantly is I went to see the wonderful Gina yesterday.
Lovely.
I went to see her yesterday, and I spent some time with her. She was feeling a little bit rough yesterday because she'd had some staples removed from the
Oof.
site and stuff. So I won't go into too much detail. So she was feeling a little bit rough because she'd been pushed around from doctor and so on and so forth yesterday. But she was definitely looking really, really well. In fact, for someone who's been through the mill a bit, she was looking really good. I was very surprised.
Good.
So I'm grateful that she is looking so well. And it reminded me of a couple of things. It reminded me of some pieces of scripture and just that promise, really, that God is always there, kind of holding us and giving us the strength that we need. So I found a passage and I was going to read it to you. And it goes, have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, he increases strength. Even youths shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. And this is the bit that leads us into the song that I've chosen for this morning. They shall mount up with wings like eagles, and they shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. So this idea that God is kind of holding us up, and whatever happens, even in the fiercest of storms, whatever's going on in our lives, there's always that someone holding us up and keeping us moving forward. Last night, I won't say any names because it's not. I don't know how much the family want everybody to know, but there's someone who's very, very poorly at the moment. And last night, I held a vigil for that person, a prayer vigil, and we sat and we prayed for that person, and we just spent some time keeping that person in our thoughts and our minds. And this morning, this morning when I woke up, I was doom scrolling on my phone. It's such a bad habit. I've got to stop it. But I saw this woman on, it was probably a TED talk or something like that. And she was talking about manifesting stuff. I was like, so there's this idea that you can manifest goodness and manifest a healthy life, manifest a good future, and all of those types of things. And I think, and my thought was, well, that's great, and in some ways, it's very similar to prayer. And as much as what we're doing when we're talking to God is we're expecting God to answer those prayers. The problem with manifestation is that when it all goes wrong and it doesn't work, you've got nowhere to go then. Whereas with God, you can say, well, actually, God, what happened here? um,
Mm.
and why has that gone wrong? So, yeah, it was quite an interesting thing. But it's just that having that power and that strength behind us that God is, and I think that's really important. It's certainly really important for me, and I hope and pray that Gina and this person that we were praying for last night, and all of the other people who are struggling with this at this time of year, particularly, my hope and my prayer is they feel like they have God behind them and lifting them up. In some way, shape, or form, that they've got someone, even if they don't believe in God. My prayer is that they feel as though they are being lifted by those people that are around them.
Yeah. And yeah, if you know someone in those situations, you can be that person that can provide that little bit of resilience to them and help give them strength through those thoughts, through prayers, if that's what you do, or by the odd message every now and then. It's amazing what can be achieved. And you have picked a song for us, and you and Father Neil, you like to think that you're a little bit different, but I've got evidence here that shows that you're more alike than you realise.
Father Neil and I are probably very, very alike. The only thing is that Father Neil is very, 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 very extroverted, and I'm not quite so extroverted. He's got no filters, and I've got some filters. That's about it.
That's about it.
That's about it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to play your choice this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
What is it? Give it to me now.
The wind beneath my wings.
I swear I've heard this before somewhere. We're going to play this now, and also I'm very excited. Another thing that I'm grateful for is education, Reverend Sophie. Waiting in the wings are some of the staff and pupils of Ysgol Casblaeth. We can't hear them at the moment, but I can see them in the bottom of my screen whilst we're live here on the radio. We're going to be chatting up with them next, because do you know how old their school is?
You did tell me. 190 years old.
Incredible. They've had quite the year
incredible.
Commemorating this, and we're going to find out all about it here next on Pure West Radio. First of all, though, it's your tune, Reverend Sophie, and are you back on Thursday morning?
I am back on Thursday morning for our confessions, and then again on Sunday. I think we've got a 2-hour special on Sunday, haven't we, for Christmas?
It is a 2-hour special of Alive and Kicking. You don't want to miss that. We'll remind you of that nearer the time, but in the meantime, here's Bette Midler, 9:20.
It must have been cold there in my shed.